Hey, everybody. This is Donna Freeman, the founder of Yoga in My School and the host of the Yoga in My School podcast. Thank you for joining me today. This is the 2021 year in review episode where we kind of look back over the past year and look forward to 2022. It has been a ridiculous year. It has been so difficult for me, and I know for many other people. But let's just have a look back on the year and what the podcast has brought. And maybe you will hear about some episodes, some well-beloved episodes, or maybe a couple that you hadn't listened to and so need to go back into the archives and find. But we kicked off last year with some legal advice from Corey Sterling. And that is probably one of my favorite ones to share with people throughout the year, as on a lot of conversation threads, people would ask questions about waivers and about privacy and about teaching online versus teaching in person and how to go back and how to do it safely and all this kind of stuff. So that legal advice for Corey Sterling, I know it's one that I have added to the curriculum of a number of courses that I offer. So if you haven't listened to that one, that's a definite for any yoga professional to go and listen to. Our number one topic of the year was trauma informed, and that went along with our trauma informed course, and also went along with everything about COVID and living in a pandemic and how we are all experiencing the challenges of these times and learning to navigate them with as much grace as we possibly can. But that trauma informed training and our podcast with mental health, but with Andrew Baxter and mental health for teens and how some teens are navigating the pandemic and the helps that are available now, so many more helps that are available now to mental health professionals, for teachers, for anyone working with teens and kids. 2021 was a huge year for pet projects coming to fruition. I think as 2020, we went into the pandemic and things shut down. A lot of people stepped back from the busyness of their life and they invested time in themselves and projects. And so a couple of the projects that we highlighted were Susan Rose's book and her work with publishing kids yoga books and her advice there. So if you're a writer and you're interested in that, definitely go check out that episode with Susan Rose. Doreen Foxwell talked to us about a new curriculum that she wrote all about astrology and kids yoga and putting those two things together. It was really insightful. And I did my star chart after that and learned a few things about myself. Some things were reinforced and other things were enlightening. And then Hillary Grierson showed us her phonics kids yoga cards. And that's a super cool way, little niche method of teaching phonics and teaching kids yoga, and she has done a really great job with those cards. And so it was interesting to see these pet projects come to fruition and talk to people about the development of them and how they've poured their heart and soul into these products and these projects. And I just love that about the kids yoga community, that we are really supportive of one another's projects. And it's so great to see your projects and how you change through time. Betty Larea talked about that when she talked about finding your voice and how at different times in your life, your voice will be different and different priorities will come, and how it's so important for us to share our voice and to find our voice and then to share our insights and our authenticity. And I really appreciate Betty for doing that and for her vulnerability in that episode. And then we had one on some tools. Sometimes we do these tools, how to use a certain thing in kids yoga class. And we did a music and percussion one, as well as another one with using music with Putumayo. And so these two kind of work hand in hand with how you can do different rhythms and how using percussion instruments in kids yoga class or using music in kids yoga class, and the plethora and wealth of music that is out there that you can use to enrich your classes. And again, finding ones that resonate with you and that convey different emotions and different states of being would be really helpful as we help kids learn about their emotional intelligence through our mindfulness, through our breath, through our asana, through all those things. So I really appreciated those, and was a little starstruck with the Putumayo one, because they've been a huge influence in the music that I pick for my kids' yoga classes. Of course, the year was not without controversy, right? With the Alabama School Yoga Bill being passed in May, and then we chatted about it. We talked about cherry picking in yoga, like only picking the things that we like out of it and not offering a full yoga practice. And then asking ourselves why we're doing that. What is it that, what are our motivations and that type of thing? And the cultural appropriation that has been so rampant in the yoga world, and how we need to address this and ask ourselves some probing questions about languaging, about practices, and about respecting the heritage of yoga, and making sure that we're not using terms incorrectly. My biggest one, and a lot of my students are really struggling with it, is the term namaste, and not using that at an end of class. What? I know lots of people are really uncomfortable with taking that out of the end of class because it is inappropriate at that place, and then trying to figure out how to do that better. And yes, some of this will be growing pains as we learn to better appreciate and show that inclusivity and honoring exactly where yoga comes from. So there's things in the future for us to continue to work on, but really asking questions and listening to the answers from groups. And this led us into that Sovereign Bodies episode with Abby Wills, and all about youth empowerment and allowing all bodies to be welcome in class to experience whatever they're experiencing, and to make yoga available to all people. This is so vital, and I think, and I know, is going to be a huge push for me as I look for guests in 2022. But to that end, we interviewed Don DeGuire of the Saskatchewan Indigenous Yoga Association, and supporting Indigenous yoga and other like efforts that are going on, so that more people can have the benefits of yoga in their lives, and it can reach even a greater population than has been to date. And so those have been some of our episodes, and we've kind of finished off the year with Mindful Hanukkah. Andrea Creel did such a good job. There are so many amazing resources in that episode for you to use annually. Just keep going back to the Mindful Hanukkah episode every year as Hanukkah approaches, and look at how you can embrace a more mindful practice and cultural appreciation of different cultures and beliefs. So that's kind of the year 2021 in review. And I hope that in chatting about those, that if you hadn't listened to something or hadn't watched it on our YouTube channel, that you will take the time to do that. And there are so many amazing topics, incredible people. It is such a blessing to me to be able to find guests for the podcast, and to research and highlight a little bit of the work that they are doing, because there's such amazing work happening. I do have a good sized list of potential guests coming into 2022. We're going to be looking at more literacy, because dang, I like books and yoga, and especially kids yoga. Combining those two is been a pet project of mine for many years. I remember, I think it was like 2005, like a long time ago, 17 years ago, that I was teaching reading readiness and yoga workshops at teachers conventions. And so I love to see how many people are doing that work now, and writing books and sharing books through kids yoga, and just that creativity, and so many ways to do that. With story and movement. So we'll be doing that. I know we'll be looking at special needs individuals. Got a couple of people in mind that are are amazing, amazing yoga instructors and just share adaptive yoga in really heartfelt ways. And I want to be able to highlight the work that they're doing. Of course, bringing yoga into schools, right? It's yoga in my school, people. This is what I do. And how it can be more than just your health curriculum or your physics curriculum. That there is so much more there that you can tap into for learning, doing that kinesthetic learning across subject matter. And so that is very intriguing to me, is, you know, finding the geometry in yoga classes, or finding the language, or finding the social studies and comparing cultures and deep diving into so many different ways. But that's a few things that I have on tap. I know I want to do one on neurodivergency, and then also social justice. Those are going to be some other topics. And I know across my social media feed have come some interesting pet projects that people are working on. So if you have a pet project, or you know somebody who's working on a pet project, be sure to reach out. My email is donna@yogainmyschool.com. And I love when people say, hey, pick me. I want to talk about some cool stuff because I'm really passionate about it. And then we'll work you into the rotation, into the schedule. But yeah, it has been an interesting year, 2021. Professionally, I know in my area, schools and daycares and preschools are really tentative still. We're currently going through an Omicron spike here, and so everybody's of course backed off again. And totally, you know, it's so understandable, and we want everyone to stay safe and healthy, and do reentry in a way that is very respectful and keeps everybody coming and returning and taking care of themselves. And this involves the teachers as well. You know, self-care is so vitally important, and for you to be on your own journey of what is best for you, so that you then have something to give to others. So I know that through this holiday season, I have really pared down. There's been a lot of rest, and I'm working at doing nothing. And for those of you who know me well, that is very difficult, but I'm working on it. And so just spending time connecting with others in heartfelt ways, establishing my own boundaries, and learning a little bit about myself. One thing that I've learned about myself this year is that I am a chronic caretaker. I like to rescue people and take care of them even before they tell me what they need from me, which can be helpful and can be harmful. And so I'm trying to curb that enthusiasm for caretaking, as it were, and to recognize that within myself, I have to let go of some things and let other people take care of themselves. And that is a very hard lesson. Because when you love people, you want to take care of them. At least that's my go-to. And so my self-care has been stepping back, trying to let others sort themselves out, creating and establishing my own boundaries and what I need in my life for it to be happy and healthy and wholesome. And I hope you will do the same as we step into 2022. And I wish you health and happiness. I wish you safety and peace. And I know that there are challenges and struggles and difficult conversations and all those kind of things. And may you step into those with grace and understanding and curiosity for yourself and for those with whom you are interacting. May your 2021 go with a blessing. And may you step into 2022 with hope. Yes, with hope. And with a determination to be your best. And to accept all the messiness. His life is messy. Isn't it though? But that you will continue listening and being part of the Yoga in My School community and share your struggles and your triumphs, because we have all of those things. And so thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments and all that you are. It has been a delight over the past 13 years to be the host of this podcast and to continue on and to know that there is no lack of amazing people out there sharing and enthusiastic and so passionate about this work. So thank you for the kids that you serve, from your family members, from me, from your communities. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. All right. We will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening.